I've been living in Spain for almost 2 years now, and I think I can finally share some bits of my own experience and what are the advantages of living and studying here. Hey everyone, my name is Erika and welcome to my channel. This is a totally random video. I didn't plan it at all. While I'm still trying to figure out what type of videos and what type of content I want to produce, I came up with a simple idea to share my experience with those who are interested in studying in this country or in studying abroad. Once again, this video is going to be based solely on my own encounters about whatever has happened to me personally. And I think that now we can begin. First, and one of the most essential things to consider before choosing a university or choosing a part of Spain where you would like to study is to pick a province. Pick a part of Spain where you would like to study. Why am I even mentioning this? Why is it even important? Because when it comes to such diverse country as Spain, these sorts of things will affect your daily life. And I'm going to be talking about these sorts of things later on. Usually when people are talking about studying in Spain, they're mentioning like a few main cities like Barcelona, Madrid, Valencia or Malaga. This is like the top cities that you usually hear. But in my situation, it is different. I live in the northern part of Spain, in the Basque Country. So we will be starting with advantages. And the first thing that I'm going to point out is the surroundings. Nature, climate, and the city. If you prefer your summers not to be boiling hot and your winters snowless, winters without snow, but with rain, with lots of rain, then the Basque Country will be a perfect fit for you. The summer here, in my opinion, is just in perfect balance. You get a few days of high temperatures, maybe a day of 30 plus something degrees, or you get 28 degrees the next day, so it's kind of hot. And then you can be sure that either the same evening or the next morning, it is going to rain and the weather is going to level itself out. During autumn, during spring, usually the weather is quite comfortable. But speaking of winter, if you're used to winters without snow, or you are used to celebrating Christmas with no snow, a New Year with no snow, then I guess it won't be a problem for you. Because I grew up celebrating my birthday, celebrating the holidays with the snow, going out, going skating, all of the stuff. And for me, it's kind of difficult to accept that this is the winter season, this is the holiday season, but it is what it is. So here it's going to rain a lot and it's very foggy, a little bit of the twilight vibes. You'll know what I'm talking about. Speaking of the twilight vibes, nature and the city, how do they co-live in the Basque Country? Once again, for me, this is a perfect fit of urbanization, of the city life and the nature. Before moving here, I had been living in St. Petersburg for about 2 years. This is a very beautiful city, in my opinion. For me, it was essential to live in a place with a pretty architecture. I wanted to have an opportunity to go out and not to get depressed by my surroundings. This is what I wanted for my life. I didn't want to go for a walk and get depressed and be stressed out and hating my life because of how ugly everything looks. This is definitely not the case for the Basque Country. If you come to Bilbao, if you come to San Sebastian, I think I can almost promise you that you're going to fall in love with the city, the way it looks. It is always so clean. It looks so great. The architecture, I just love it. And considering how pretty the city is itself, the architecture, the buildings, the center, the fountains, whatever, imagine this perfect city being surrounded by mountains. When it's rainy, you wake up, you look at the mountains and there is fog, you know, the ultimate twilight vibes. This is what I'm talking about. Especially last year when I had to go to Vitoria to do my studies. You have like a bus at 7 or 8 a.m. You're driving through the mountains. There is fog, all sorts of mountains, the Rocky Mountains, mountains covered with trees. You see pastures, you see sheep, you see cows, you see everything. Like This is a straight up out of the movie scene. This is what I'm talking about. I'm absolutely in love with it. This is just a perfect match. I can't imagine anything better. So if you're into this perfect collaboration of the nature and the city life, I believe that the Basque Country is just perfect. You're walking around the city, there are hills, mountains. What else do you need? And then you go to the metro and you're like, I don't know. And then you're like 20 minutes away from the ocean, from the Bay of Biscay. There are so many wonderful beaches. They're so mesmerizing. There are so many picturesque views. What else do you possibly need? I don't understand. And now let's move on to one of the most important parts is the education. Why would you come in here to study? I'm going to point out some benefits that I think exist, some benefits that I have noticed in my own experience, and then you can draw the conclusions yourself. First of all, the cost of studying. Depending on the faculty, depending on the university that you're choosing, and usually in public universities, the cost of studying is not that expensive. I think per semester it could be 400 euros, around that. So it's not that expensive comparing to other European countries. Second of all, a lot of exchange programs. If you want to go through this diverse studying experience, if you want to have an opportunity to study in different countries all around the world, so here we have plenty options of exchange programs. There are exchange programs around Spain. And you can go all around Europe, you can go to Asia, you can go to Americas. The number of options is just unlimited. Like whatever part of the world you're interested in, most likely you will get a great opportunity to go there, to study there. So not only that, but also there are plenty of international students coming in for a semester or for 2 semesters to study here. So it makes your group more diverse, and I think you will have more opportunities to meet people all around the world, from Japan, from the States, from other European countries. That's great. The only problem is that they're probably just going to be coming for a semester or a year. And if you make some friends, you're probably going to start missing them the way that I did. The next best thing here, and I don't know if it happens all around the world, just here, I have no idea. The education flexibility, especially when the students are coming here and they usually want to explore things, or for those students who are working part-time or they're just working or they have other things to do. The university offers 2 ways for you to pass a course, each course. So you have 2 options. You can do a continuous assessment, meaning that you have an opportunity to attend lectures, that you must do the activities, you must come to practical hours, do all of the graded assignments. Or you have another option where you withdraw from continuous assessment and you only do the exam. So you still can come to the classes, but you don't have to do any graded activities. You come only to the final exam, and the final exam will be your final mark for the course. Frankly speaking, I've never done anything like that. It feels very unusual, but I know a few people who constantly do that. Maybe I'll give it a try in the upcoming semesters, but this is not just something that I'm used to. I'm used to always doing the assignments and being in the continuous assessment, but we'll see how life will go. So I think it's a great opportunity for all the students of different circumstances. If you're leaving, if you're not sure that you're going to be able to attend all of the classes, or you're feeling sick a lot, so you still have this opportunity, as well as to come to the professor's office hours to get an explanation, to get some clarity, whatever. This is what's interesting. Even if you're doing the continuous assessment, most of the time it is going to mean that you have to also pass the final exam. So I don't really see a point of doing the continuous assessment, frankly speaking. If you're doing much more work, you're putting in much more work, and you still have to pass the final exam, and it's still going to affect your grade like a lot. So I think this is just a perfect option for students nowadays. Another thing that I want to mention is how understanding the majority of professors are. The professors that I had for the major part. They were very understanding when you have work, when you have your personal circumstances, like the family issues or whatever. I personally had to leave earlier sometimes because I have work or because of my own well-being that I didn't feel that well. So, because I've heard from other students who are studying in a different country that sometimes the professors want to grade them if they don't come to the class a certain number of hours. For instance, you can't leave earlier if you don't give a specific reason for that, a justified proof why you're not coming to classes. In my case, it's different. I don't know. And I think that's very good. This is good for a students' well-being, students' personal life, because not everyone has only one responsibility as to just study. Lots of students have their own personal matters that they have to take care of. Now let's talk about the flexibility which comes to exams. First of all, you have 6 attempts, as far as I know. Once again, I'm talking only about what's happening in my university, in my faculty. So as far as I know, you have about 6 attempts to pass a course. And usually you have 2 possibilities to pass the exam. The first one is the official final date. And the second one is the extraordinary course. When we're talking about summer finals week, usually we pass exams around June. So if you don't pass your ordinary course of the exam, you are going to have an opportunity to pass this exam in July. However, if you fail a final exam during winter, you have to take the extraordinary course once again in July. So you either come to the official date of the exam, or you have other option. If you don't feel like you're going to pass the exam, if you feel very unprepared, you have an option of not presenting yourself, not coming to the exam. Remember the 6 attempt that I have mentioned. So your attempt is not going to disappear. You're going to save this one attempt and wait for a better time when you feel more prepared and you feel like, okay, maybe this time I am going to be able to pass the exam. But we're also going to talk about what's going to happen if you don't pass the exam, if you fail, even during your second attempt. And now we continue talking about the education flexibility, something that I personally benefited last semester or after the enrollment. You have an opportunity to change your group. And as far as I know, there are usually a few cases why or what could be the reasons for you to change the group. For instance, it doesn't fit your schedule. You want to change your group based on the language. If there tends to be some issue with the professor, as far as I know. Last year, I got a job somewhere when the course has already started, and I needed to change a group because it no longer fits in my schedule. Like I have a class when I have to be at work. So the only thing that I did, I just wrote to the secretary, I think filled out some kind of a questionnaire or whatever, and then they transferred me from the evening group to the morning group. And now we're finally talking about something that I have mentioned in the beginning. Why is it so important to pick a province and be conscious about it? Like, why do you even have to pay attention to that? The culture. It's not called Basque Country for nothing. They have their own language, the Basque language. They have their own traditions. They have their own holiday celebrations. You will be fascinated by their love for their own culture, how they're protective of their own identity, their traditions. And I think this is really fascinating because you really dive into something different. I had an opportunity to teach English to the local kids here, and it was really interesting because they teach you a lot about their traditions, their way of life, especially when they come after school and they share with you what type of holiday did they have today, what did they sing, what was the special day for them today. Or when you walk past some schools and the kids are leaving schools and they're dressed in their traditional clothing, they're singing in Basque. I think this is really fascinating when you have these encounters with a different culture, the culture that you're not used to. And I personally didn't know anything about the Basques before I moved here. This is something that makes your experience here so divergent from anything else. Or, for example, something that I've never seen before, when there are holidays, everyone's wearing scarves with a particular theme. And I think I'm going to show them off to you, the small collection of scarves that I have for now. I'm really hoping that this video was very useful for you. If you still have some questions or you want to know something more, something particular about studying and living in Spain, then I will gladly read and answer your questions or read your comments. What do you think about it? Maybe you have already studied in the Basque Country or in Spain in general. You could maybe share your opinion, your experience, whatever you have gone through. And yeah, thank you all for listening, for watching, and that's all. See you next time. Bye bye.